Hi, good evening, everybody. I'd like to call the Town of Stockbridge Board of Selectmen meeting to order on October 28th, 2021 at 6:30 PM. Thank you for coming, everybody who's here. First order of business this evening is to take action on a Tri-Town Health Department request for funding under the American Rescue Plan Act of 2021. So I'm going to read their request so the public understands what we're talking about.
Can we share it?
Pardon me?
I was asking Michael if you could share it on the screen.
Yeah. So, from Tri-Town Health Department, dear respected municipal leaders, on behalf of the Tri-Town Boards of Health, representing the Lee, Lenox, and Stockbridge Boards of Health, and the Tri-Town Health Department, we are respectfully requesting your consideration and approval to request funding under the American Rescue Plan Act, ARPA, of 2021. Our request aligns with allowable and eligible expenses under 1, public health, 1.12, other public health services. We are requesting a total amount of $70,000 per year of available ARPA funds. Our goal is to utilize ARPA funds versus formally requesting this funding through the municipal operating budget. Below is a breakdown utilizing the existing district funding formula based on percentage and a justification and description of how we plan to utilize this funding. Tri-Town Health Department District is seeking to hire a 1.0 FTE full-time equivalent employee who is specialized in the FDA National Retail Food Standards Program to assist the district in advancing this national certification and to be federally certified under the program. Once certified, the FDA then invests significant dollars to offset operating costs to continue and maintain this certification. In certain cases, we would be eligible for over $100,000 over a multi-year grant. The ARPA funding would be a short-term investment with a long-term gain. The FDA Voluntary National Retail Food Regulatory Program Standards, Retail Program Standards, is a program that defines what constitutes a highly effective and responsive food program for the regulations of food service and retail food establishments. The goal of the retail program standards is to guide regulatory programs to reduce or eliminate the occurrence of illnesses and deaths from food produced at the retail level, while recognizing that there are different approaches toward achieving that goal. The FDA certification, while not mandatory now, will be in forthcoming years as the state advances mandatory workforce credentials in Massachusetts under the Special Commission of Local and Regional Public Health Workforce Standards. Here is the breakdown of cost request per town per year. Annual request, a total of $70,000. Lee is 33%, requesting $23,100. Lennox is 43%, requesting $30,100, and Stockbridge at 24%, requesting $16,800. Thank you for your time and consideration on this important request that will further advance the health district and its community. Respectfully, Jim Willis, Executive Director of Public Health, Registered Sanitarian, Tri-Town Health. So that is here what we need to discuss and whether or not we want to move forward with that. Chuck, your feeling on this?
Yeah, I agree with it.
Okay. Patrick?
The thing I don't understand is the screen you have up right now. We have like, what, 5 retail food establishments in the entire town. Lee has about 50 or 60 and Lenox has probably more than that. I don't understand why we're paying 24%, of a program that basically we have about 1% or 2% or 5% of the total establishments. But however, I'm not against it. It's a great idea. I just think it's maybe, the percentages could maybe be tweaked a little bit. What do you think, Michael?
I believe it's based on the percentages that we contribute to Tri-Town Health as a whole.
Right.
While this one program may not proportionally help us, there are other programs that they offer that do. So I think it's a good use of funds for the first 2 years in order to get them lined up on future ones, which shouldn't cost any of the towns anything. And once again, this is coming out of the ARPA funds, not that those can't be used for
Yeah, I mean, it's,
other needs, but I do think this is a legitimate request.
I would just suggest that Stockbridge lately has been subsidizing the expenses of the towns around it. We did it with the school capital funding. And this, to me, feels a little bit like we're doing it for our friends in Lee and Lennox, but if you guys want to do it, I'm okay with it and we'll vote for it.
All right, do I hear a motion?
I'll make a motion that we go with the proposal for 16,800.
All right, I'll second. All those in favor?
Sure.
Aye.
Aye. All righty, thank you very much. All right. Hi, Matt. Matt Boudreau is here with us in the room. We would love it if more of you would be here in the room with us. So next on the agenda is suppression grant submittal and approval for Ice Glen. And this is the treatment of the hemlocks. And Michael and Matt, would you like to address that?
Oh, there's my thing.
I hear there was some discussion about the basil spray.
Basil spray.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we put together, the Ag and Forestry Commission put together a grant to help fund us into the future with the treatment of the trees. And we're looking from DCR for another $70,000, or the USDA, excuse me, thank you, to fund a more expensive treatment of the trees. On top of that, we did hear some concerns about basil spray. So we were talking about moving forward with just injections, so there's no more concerns over aerial or any spread. It will only be injected into the trees and not anywhere on the surface. So we felt good about that, and we're looking for you guys to look it over and approve it so we can send it out.
Mm-hmm. Any comments, Patrick?
I've seen the grant. I was involved in preparing it. I'm completely okay with it.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
How about you, Chuck?
I'll make a motion that we move ahead with the grant.
I'll second the motion.
Okay.
All those in favor?
Before we vote, I'll just point out though that it's about 3 times more expensive for us to treat the trees with the injection as it is with the spraying. And so, you know, we have a gift fund for Ice Glen that has at least one donation I know of. And I really would encourage anyone who cares about it and has the means and they want to kind of help us make sure that we can treat as many trees as we want. I think the total budget will be in the $150,000 to $200,000 range. Is that right? So, you know, the town has a gift fund. It's tax deductible. And I just want to encourage people to give.
Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
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 Okay. Thank you very much.
That was easy.
All right. Next on the agenda is appointment of new highway positions. And Michael, did you want to speak to that?
Yes, so we have 2 positions still open within the highway department, transfer station attendant, and we had a opening for a mechanic within the department. After we did an initial search probably about 3 months ago for a mechanic position, of which we did not have much of any response to. So we tabled it and then re-advertised again, along with the transfer station attendant position. This time we had a number of applicants, which was nice to see. So we had quite a few. Myself and Hugh conducted 5 interviews. And from there, we then selected 2 that we thought were the candidates that stood out for these positions. We did reference checks, background checks. We went through the resumes. We did all of our due diligence and we're comfortable with the 2 people we came up with. Now, I will say that the person it's going to be more of a little tweak instead of a pure mechanic, which originally we thought would be the best route. We really don't think that based on what we've seen, talking to other communities and the rest, that the odds of getting a pure mechanic, including we don't have lifts and other stuffs down there. But the person that we have is used to tracking a fleet. So they keep track of all when grease and oil change, when this, when warranty work's required, when everything else is. So it would be more of a fleet supervisor and equipment manager, but can still do all the small repair items that most of our guys can also do. So this would give Hugh a full complement of people for his department, which would be a good thing moving forward. So the first person is David Paul Crum. Comes with 18 years of experience in DPW work for another community, and he has numerous licenses, certifications from the Bay State Road Program, and it's somebody that we're very comfortable with. The other person is Mark Buffoni, who we felt as though best encapsulated what we would need for a transfer station attendant, which we really looked at was somebody that could be firm, yet not confrontational, and somebody that would really be the public face of the department. And they probably see more individuals than anybody else in the town government on a daily basis. So we felt as though it was key to get the right person for that. So based on that information, I am recommending those two people to the select board for appointments. And Hugh felt the same way, and Hugh's here tonight if you want to ask.
Yeah, Hugh, yeah, I looking these over, obviously, well qualified, and particularly the position, the fellow coming from another town. Certainly his level of training and certifications will suit us well. He already comes in with a great deal of experience. So I feel very good about them. I know that you were involved in the interviews and just wondered if you had any additional comments to make.
No, I think Mike summed it up pretty well, so I don't think I need to add much more than that, but, hopefully we just strengthen our force and move forward, and be more productive out there. That's my goal.
Good.
All righty. Well, I move that we approve the appointment of Paul Crum and Mark Buffoni to these two highway positions.
No second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
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 All righty. Well, that wraps up our agenda. I just have one or two announcements, really, sad ones. I've heard of the passing of Eugene Talbot, which apparently happened a couple weeks ago. Yes. And also of Grace Pixley. So Eugene was 95, Grace Pixley was 93. And many people remember Eugene Talbot in particular because he was a member of the select board, he was on the planning board, he was president of Laurel Hill. So I was asked jokingly, am I going to announce every time that someone dies from Stockbridge? Basically, I think everybody that we've mentioned so far are 90 and above. So I think that when someone has lived that long, and particularly in the case of Eugene Talbot, have contributed to the community, that they are worth a mention. And we're sorry to have lost them.
Listen, I have no problem with you announcing every death you have done. I mean, it's only a 2,000 residents.
It's not that many people.
Yeah, I mean, hopefully we're not gonna have 2 a week.
I know, it's unfortunate, but we have lost some elderly residents this year. So at any rate, now, do we have any comments or questions from the public? No? All right.
Thank you.
Thank you for coming. So I move that we adjourn.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Good night, everybody. Thanks for coming.
Thank you.